Hey friend, welcome to Through the Shannell4Life Lens, where we explore real stories on life, love, and growth, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Nita, also known as Shannell for Life, and around here we live by the 4 S's. We show up, show off, show out, and most importantly, show love for life. Each week, we will dive into topics that inspire, challenge, and connect us because life is a journey and we're in it together. So get comfortable, turn the volume up, and let's get into it. Hope is being able to see that there is a light despite of all the darkness. Desmond Tutu. Hey friend, I don't know where you are right now, physically, emotionally, or even mentally. But I do know one thing. If you're feeling the weight of the world right now, you are not alone. We are in some tough times right now, and life is feeling very heavy. And not even just thinking about all the external factors and craziness that is going on, our personal, internal struggles that we have, life can sometimes feel heavy. So we're thinking about our personal struggles, the state of the world, or even just the deep exhaustion that can creep in because we are trying to do all the things and be all the things for everyone and everybody. Well, in today's episode, it's all about holding on to hope, even when things feel dark. And this is not just in a think positive, have good thoughts type of way, but this is in a real honest, how do we actually do this type way. So right now, when I take a look around, whether you're turning on the news, looking at different things that you are kind of going through on your own, it's a lot. It's a lot of heaviness. It's a lot of one thing after another. Things just keep happening. And it's not even like we get a chance to breathe or recover from it. And a lot of people are feeling the weight of the world right now. A lot of people are feeling the darkness. A lot of people are feeling the heaviness. And it was just so important for me to come and talk about this topic because I'm like, if I'm feeling this way, I can't imagine how everyone else is feeling. So as I always say, we are all in this together and we are going to get through this together. So why not talk about it? You know it, together. I mean, life is so unpredictable. It is so easy to get overwhelmed. You may even be struggling and you haven't even told anybody about it. Or you may just be tired. Tired of all the noise, tired of all the confusion, tired of all the craziness, tired of feeling like things will never change. And if that's where you are, I see you. I see you. I feel you. I understand. I may not know exactly what you're going through, but trust, we all go through things. So yes, I understand. And it's important for you to know, as we start off this episode, that you are not alone. You are not alone in what you are feeling right now. And also on top of that, you have every right to feel whatever it is that you feel right now. I think a lot of times in life, we all want to focus on positive. We all want to focus on the good. Yes, we do want to focus on positive. We do want to focus on the good. Nobody wants to focus on the negative, but we have to recognize that things do happen. There are negative forces out there. There are negative things happening all around us. So we can't put a blind eye to it and have this kind of toxic positivity thing going on. But no, it's recognizing that, yes, sometimes things are not that great. And the thing is, when you are in those moments, when you're feeling the heaviness, when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling the weight of the world, you have to recognize those feelings. You have to allow yourself to feel those feelings. Yes, I'm a positive person. Yes, I am one that wants to do everything in love. But what I don't do is stop myself from feeling. If I'm having a bad day, if things are not going the way that I want them to go, then yes, I'm going to stop and I'm going to allow myself to feel those feelings. I feel a lot of us make our mistakes because we don't give ourselves permission to feel those feelings. We think that we just have to keep going. We think we have to keep pushing. We think that if we recognize these feelings, it's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of not being able to cope. But no, that's not it. You have to allow yourself to feel whatever you are feeling. Running from it is not healthy. You allow yourself to feel what you are feeling, but you don't get stuck there. And that is the important thing. So if you have to take a few hours to feel Whatever it is, cry a little bit, scream a little bit, whatever you need to do. You may even need to take a full day, a couple days. But the important thing is you allow yourself to feel the feeling, but you don't get stuck there. This is not about pretending that things aren't hard. It's about finding ways to keep going, even when things are hard. It's about finding that light, that little bitty light that you may see sometimes at the end of the tunnel, because there's so much chaos, there's so much confusion, there's so much darkness. You are just looking for something, just a little glimmer. And sometimes you can see that small little glimmer. You may have to squint to see it, but it's there. And that is what this is about. When we talk about finding light in the darkness, it is finding that little piece of hope that is going to keep you pushing forward, even on the days that you feel the most hopeless. And of course, there is so much out here that we do not have control over. There are so many external forces. You turn on the news, it's just negative after negative after negative these days. However, there is so much that we can do to protect our peace. Even when it feels dark, even when everything feels heavy, protect our peace and find that hope. So one of the first things that you can do is focus on what you can control. Yes, the world may be chaotic, but your actions, your mindset, the things you take in, those are things that you can manage. Those are things that you can control. I often remind myself of what is within my control right now. Sometimes it's as simple as stepping away from the world, silencing the noise, taking a deep breath, focusing on my next step, doing what I need to do in that moment to take care of myself. A lot of times when we talk about focusing on what you can control, controlling what you can control, we feel so out of control that we take for granted that something as simple as removing myself from a situation, going to take 5 minutes to take a deep breath, that is controlling what I can control in that moment. And what you find is when you start to control what you can control, when you start to focus on those things that you can control, you start to reclaim your joy. You start to reclaim your peace. You start to find that hope again. But it's a matter of letting go, focusing on things that you can control and controlling what you can control to find that peace. And on this content creator journey, on this Shannell4Life journey, things have not always been easy. If you've been a long time follower, you've been through some of the rough days with me. And it was in those moments that, yes, there was a lot of darkness around me at one point in time. And I really had to dig deep to control what I could control. I couldn't control the things that were happening to me, but I could control my reactions to them. I could control how I reacted, what I took in, what I allow myself to see, what I allow myself to read, what I allow myself to hear. And it was in that moment where they talk about protecting your peace. I protected my peace a whole lot during that time. Yes, some of my closest friends will tell you they were heavy times for me. There were some serious heavy times when you just look at things that people will do to you, ways that people will attack you, narratives that people will create about you because they want people to believe that you aren't who you say you are. And during that time, it was dark. It was heavy, very, very heavy. But I controlled what I could control. I held on to my truth, what I knew to be true, what I knew my intentions to be, and I stayed focused. And when I tell you, even in staying focused, it was hard. It was hard. My friends will tell you, I was ready to give up. I was ready to throw in the towel. I may not have said anything. I may not have done anything, but when you look at the lengths that people will go to try to destroy your name, to try to destroy your character, trust, it does get heavy. It does get dark. But what I held on to was the light. And in that time, the light was there because I knew my truth. I knew why I do the things I do. I knew what happened despite the narrative that people tried to put out there. And because I knew my truth, because I know I do everything in integrity, and because I know my intentions, that was what I held on to during that time. It didn't matter what people were saying about me, what people were trying to do to me. Yes, as a human, that human side of you does feel that, like, well, what is going on? But when you know who you are and you know whose you are, it makes it so that you can have a better control over things that you can control. So I can control my thought process during that time. I can control my actions. I can focus on my assignment at hand and not get caught up in the foolishness. And that is what I did. Focused on what I could control. Finding the light in that heavy, difficult time, I learned to control what I could control and silence the noise. And it was through doing that that I was able to find peace, even in the midst of that storm, even in the midst of the continuous attacks, the things that were going back to back. I found my peace. I walked in my truth. I held my head up high and I still showed up. Because one thing about it, when you develop that resilient spirit, when you find that hope, when you realize that people are going to always have something to say, but you just have to stay true to you and to yourself, it makes life a little bit easier. That doesn't mean life doesn't get hard. That doesn't mean it doesn't get tough, but it makes things a little bit easier because you know, and that is all that matters. So you focus on what you can control. You control what you can control during those hard and heavy times. And another thing you can do is find joy in the little things. When you have hope, it isn't always about those big, life-changing moments. It is a lot of those little and small things, those day-to-day things that you will find joy in. The sound of your favorite song, a deep conversation, doing one of your favorite pastimes, getting your favorite snack, doing like I do, my self-care day, grab me a cup of Starbucks coffee. Yes, I'm a Starbucks girly. Those things right there can help you through some of the most difficult times. And you're probably like, Nita, what are you talking about? Life is hard. I'm not trying to hear nothing about no Starbucks or a favorite song and all that. But think about it. On your hardest of hardest day, on your toughest of toughest day, when you are feeling your worst, when you can find that little pick-me-up, no, it's not going to solve all your problems. No, it's not going to make everything better. But it's a little feel-good thing right in that moment that you're in. Something to make the day a little less bad. Those little things that you can do to help you find some joy in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the darkness. It doesn't have to be anything major. Binge watching your favorite TV show. Turning on your favorite song, singing at the top of your lungs. Going for a drive. Sitting in your car. Something that you can control in that moment, because it's going back to the first one of controlling what you can control, and find that joy. I encourage you, pay attention to those small joys today. In all the chaos, all the confusion, all the noise around you, look around for those small joys today. Even if it's just for a little small moment, I guarantee you can find some type of joy in your day. Something that will turn that frown upside down, as we used to say when we were little. But in these dark, heavy times, it's going to be about recognizing those small moments where you can find some joy. Because you're going to need to laugh to keep from crying a lot of times. You're going to need to put a smile on your face and fake it till you make it sometimes. But when you find the little pieces of joy in the day, that makes it just a little bit easier. And lastly, lean on your community and love. You know, here at Through the Shannell4Life Lens, we are all about community. We are all about love, and we are all about positivity. Hope isn't meant for you to carry it alone. Sometimes the light that you need is in the people around you. And the crazy part is when we are feeling like at our lowest moments, when we are feeling that heaviness of the world, like we just can't take another step, like everything is just so heavy and we are carrying so many loads, a lot of things that the first thing that a lot of us want to do is shut down, isolate ourselves, go into our own little corner and stay away from the world. But that's really not what you should do in that situation. Now I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm preaching to myself here because I am one that I don't want to be bothered when I'm feeling heavy, when my mood is off, when I just feel like I'm taking blow after blow after blow, being attacked after attack after attack. I'm not trying to hear none of that. I don't want to be around anybody. And a lot of times I don't even want to hear those encouraging words. As we always say, we have the spiritual side of us and we have the human side of us. And on those days when life is just hitting you one thing after the next, a lot of times you're not trying to hear the spiritual uplifting stuff. You just want to feel what you feel and let it be. But one of the worst things that we can do when we are going through it is to isolate ourselves. Because when we isolate ourselves, we leave ourselves in a position to constantly replay those thoughts, to constantly think about that heaviness, the darkness, whatever it is that around us, because there's nothing going on. No, it's not saying that you find your community and you go out here and do stuff and do all this stuff to distract yourself from it, because you still have real life problems at the end of the day. But what it is saying is that you don't want to isolate yourself to where you're constantly replaying whatever that situation is, whatever it is that's going on, where you're constantly absorbing it, constantly seeing it. You want to be able to lean on those around you. And yes, you may not be trying to hear what they have to say. You may be like, why am I around all these people? They feeling all good and great. And here I am feeling like I'm feeling. But in those moments, sometimes there is stuff from your community, from your friends, from your trusted circle that can rub off on you a little bit. So I encourage you, when you're feeling dark, when you're feeling heavy, reach out, ask for support. You have people that want to be there for you, that are there for you. And sometimes they are just waiting for you to reach out because they can probably see that something is wrong with you. But we as people, we don't want to step on toes. We don't want to overstep our boundaries. So a lot of times we may see that somebody's going through, and there are some of us that we will check on that person depending on our relationship with them. But there are others of us that are like, okay, I know they may need some time. I don't want to drag these things up for them. So I'm going to take a back seat. I'm going to step back. But I encourage you, if you're feeling heavy, if you are feeling dark, if you are just feeling hopeless, reach out to somebody, ask for help, call a friend. There are people that want to be there for you, and you have to allow people to be there for you. Yes, we want to shut off the world, but don't do that. Right now, I can almost guarantee, I won't guarantee because you never make guarantees, but almost guarantee that whatever you're going through, someone else is experiencing something similar. And you never know what you may have in common with the next person. That is why we have the Shannell4Life community. That is why when I look at what Shannell4Life has done as a brand, as an entity where it has connected so many people, helped build so many relationships, create friendships, restore relationships and friendships, like long lost friends have reconnected through the Shannell4Life community. New friendships have been made, new bonds have been made. A powerful thing that we have here in the Shannell4Life community. So don't be afraid to reach out to someone, phone a friend, lean on them for support, because I guarantee you that person is more than willing to be that listening ear. And also, it will make them feel comfortable for when they need a listening ear, they may decide to call you. So reach out, ask for help, and let people be there for you. Talking about the ways to find that light in the heavy times, there's also, okay, I found the light. I see the little glimmer at the end of the tunnel. I hear what you're saying about controlling what I can control, finding the joy in the little things. Leaning on my community of support? Okay, all that's good, Nita. But what can I actually do? Like, I need to do something. So, how can you hold on to hope during those dark, heavy, and tough times? One thing you can do is practice gratitude. Even on your worst of worst days, there's always something to be grateful for. No, it doesn't take away the hard stuff. No, it doesn't make everything better. But there is gratitude. There are things to be grateful for every single day. So when you take a moment to point out those small wins, those small things, those little moments of joy we talked about earlier, it reminds us that not everything is dark, not everything is heavy, and not everything is bad. You can do something as simple as writing down 3 things each day that you are grateful for. In the morning before you start your day, in the evening before you go to bed, sit back and reflect on 3 things that you're grateful for. And that right there can kind of help switch your mindset up, can help you see things in a different light, can give you more of that light in the darkness. So think about ways that you can practice gratitude each day so that you're not so focused on all the bad and everything that's going wrong, but you're starting to flip that mindset and focus on some things that are still going good, even in the midst of it all. Another thing you can do is take small actions to spread kindness. I don't know if you heard this before, but hope multiplies when we give it away. A simple act of kindness, whether it's a text, a smile, a kind word, a small gesture, can make the world of difference in someone's day. Now, this brings me back to an experience I had a few days ago. I was at Popeyes, of course, getting my family some food because that's the life that we live right now in basketball season and everything that's going on. But I stopped in Popeyes to pick up dinner for my family. And as I'm waiting for my order, this man comes in there and he says to the guys behind the counter, "Hey, I'm homeless. Can you help me out with some food?" Now, I don't know about you, but I've been in plenty of establishments where I've seen how people react to those who may be homeless or unhoused. And it's always not the best reaction, or you wonder why people judge and act the way that they do. But when I tell you I was so impressed by this Popeye staff, and it really warmed my heart. When that gentleman said to them, "Hey, I'm homeless. Can you help me out with some food?" The guy behind the cash register grabbed the manager. The manager came up. He said, "Of course, no problem." He grabbed one of their boxes, threw some pieces of chicken in there, some fries, and a biscuit, gave him some sauce, and gave him a cup to get a drink. And it was a cold and rainy day outside. And because of that manager's kindness, because of the cashier's kindness, that gentleman was able to sit down in Popeyes and have him a meal, get warm, be out of the rain. And it was that right there that reminded me there is still kindness in the world. There are still people that care. No matter how many times we turn on the TV and we see the hate that is spewed from some of the biggest platforms, that right there reminded me there are still good people in the world. So that is an act of kindness. Those are things that we can do to spread kindness. So I challenge you today. Do one small act of kindness. Find a way that you can pay it forward, that you can be kind to someone today. Because you never know how that small act of kindness can change someone's day or perhaps even change their life. And the last thing you can do to hold on to hope, even in the darkness, even during the heavy times, is to guard your peace. And yes, I talked about this earlier when I talked about controlling what you control, but really be intentional about guarding your peace. You don't have to consume everything. You don't have to listen to everything. You don't have to read everything that's out there. You don't have to continuously scroll your social media. Put the phone down. Turn the TV off. Find something else to do. Protect your peace. And not only protect your peace, but protect your peace like it's sacred. Because guess what? It really is. You have control over more in your life than you realize. Yes, there's a lot you can't control, but you can guard your peace. You can protect your peace at all costs. So I encourage you today, set some boundaries. And that's a whole nother discussion for a different day. But yeah, we're going to have to do an episode around boundaries and setting boundaries because woo child. But set you some boundaries. Unplug where needed. And be mindful of what you let into your space today. Guard your peace. You can control that. And I encourage you to do that, even in these dark and heavy times. Friend, I hope today's conversation gave you something to hold on to. The world may be a little heavy right now, but you are strong. You are resilient. You can do it. You can make it. And guess what? Even in the darkness, the light still exists. If this episode spoke to you, I encourage you to share it with someone. I also encourage you to head over to social media and share one of your favorite tidbits from today's episode because you never know who may need to hear an encouraging word. So share a message with someone who needs to hear it. Let's be that light that each other needs. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. I hope this conversation gave you something to think about, something to feel, and something to take with you on your journey. If you love this episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a new one. And if something resonated with you, share it with a friend or drop a review. It helps us to grow this community and keep the good vibes going. Join the conversation on Instagram at Shannell4Life and visit Shannell4Life.com for more. And remember, whatever you do in life, show up, show off, show out, and show love for life. I'll see you in the next episode.